Imagine being so broke that you have to sell your best friend, your dog, just to put food on the table. That's exactly what Sylvester Stallone did when he had just $106 in his bank account, no job, and a dream that no one believed in. He faced more than 1,500 rejections, with Hollywood agents telling him he'd never make it. They laughed at his slurred speech, his rough looks, and his crazy dream of starring in a movie he wrote himself. They all said he should give up, but Stallone refused. He had a script, Rocky, and he believed it was his ticket to success. But here's where it gets interesting. Why did Stallone turn down a massive $300,000 offer for his script when he was completely broke? How did he manage to write Rocky in just 3 days? And why did he insist on starring in it himself? The result? It shocked the world. A film that grossed over $225 million, won 3 Academy Awards, and became a $1.7 billion franchise. But Stallone's fight didn't end there. How did he go from sleeping in bus stations to building a $400 million empire? And what happened when he tried to buy back the dog he sold in desperation? How did a struggling actor with nothing to lose create one of the most iconic movie franchises of all time? Stay tuned, because this story is a masterpiece. Before Sylvester Stallone became a Hollywood star, life was really hard for him. But what made things so tough? Stallone's struggles started from the very beginning. When he was born, doctors used forceps that accidentally damaged a nerve in his face. This left him with a partially paralyzed lip and slurred speech. People made fun of the way he talked and looked, making it really hard for him to fit in. His home life, not much better. His parents fought constantly, and after their divorce, Stallone was forced to move around, even spending time in a foster home. He felt lost, struggling to find where he belonged. But his biggest challenge came when he decided to chase his dream of becoming an actor. Things didn't get any easier. He was rejected more than 1,500 times by casting agents who thought he didn't have the right look or voice for Hollywood. They told him to give up, but he refused. Money was a huge problem too. Stallone was living in a tiny rundown apartment in New York City, struggling to pay rent. He took on any job he could find, cleaning animal cages, working at a movie theater, and even acting in low-budget adult films just to survive. But no matter how tough things got, he never stopped chasing his dream. So, how did Stallone go from struggling to survive to writing a movie that would change his life forever? That's where the story of Rocky begins. Sylvester Stallone's life was at an all-time low. He was broke, hungry, and out of options. But then, one night, everything changed. One evening, after watching a boxing match between Muhammad Ali and Chuck Wepner, Stallone felt something spark inside him. The fight wasn't just about winning. It was about heart, determination, and never giving up. Something Stallone knew all too well. With a burst of motivation, he sat down and wrote the entire script for Rocky in just 3 days. But writing the script, that was the easy part. The real challenge, selling it. Stallone took Rocky to studio after studio, hoping someone would see its potential. And they did, just not with him in the lead role. Every studio loved the script, but no one wanted Stallone to play the main character. They offered him huge amounts of money, $75,000, then $125,000, and finally $300,000. But there was one condition. He couldn't star in it. Stallone was struggling, no money, overdue rent, barely enough to eat. It seemed like an easy choice to take the money, but he refused. He believed Rocky was his story, and no one else could play the role better than him. Things got so bad that Stallone had to make a heartbreaking decision. He sold his beloved dog, Butkus, for just $50, just to afford food. It crushed him, but he held on to his dream. Then, after countless rejections, one studio finally took a risk. They agreed to let him star in Rocky, but with a tiny budget of just $1 million. And Stallone, he'd only be paid $35,000. What happened next was beyond anyone's expectations. Rocky became a massive hit, winning hearts worldwide, proving that Stallone's gamble was worth it. But the question is, how did he manage to turn that small success into a billion-dollar franchise? Let's find out in the next chapter. Imagine you're at rock bottom, flat broke, evicted, and so desperate that you sell your best friend, your dog, for just $50 to survive. Then, out of nowhere, life throws you a lifeline. Hollywood comes knocking and offers you $300,000 for your script. That's life-changing money, a ticket out of poverty. But here's the twist. They don't want you in the movie. They want your story, just not you. But Stallone, he had something they didn't, an unshakable belief that nobody could play Rocky better than him. Offer after offer rolled in. Friends begged him to take it. Even his landlord told him he was insane for saying no. But Stallone stood by his decision. He wasn't just selling a script, he was selling his dream. And he refused to watch someone else live it for him. The stakes couldn't have been higher. With just $106 to his name and no backup plan, Stallone did the unthinkable. He turned down the money. No guarantee of success, no safety net, just raw faith and a vision. And then, the impossible happened. United Artists finally agreed to his demand. But there was a catch. They gave him the smallest budget imaginable, just $1 million, a shoestring budget for a Hollywood film. No lavish sets, no fancy equipment, just grit, hustle, and a whole lot of heart. Money was so tight that Stallone's family ended up playing extras. The iconic running scene, that was filmed guerrilla style on the streets of Philadelphia. No permits, no blocked roads, just Stallone dodging real traffic and bewildered bystanders. But even after landing the role, something haunted him. He couldn't stop thinking about Butkus, the dog he had sold in desperation. The moment Stallone got his first paycheck, he rushed back to the liquor store where he had sold Butkus. But the guy who bought him wasn't letting go so easily. The price to get him back, $15,000. And guess what? Stallone paid every penny. Why? Because Butkus was more than just a dog. He was a part of the journey, a part of the dream. And fittingly, Butkus ended up starring in Rocky alongside Stallone. But now came the biggest challenge yet. Would audiences believe in an underdog story, written by an underdog himself? Would all the sacrifice, struggle, and crazy risks finally pay off? Stallone had one shot, and just like Rocky, he was ready to go the distance. When Rocky hit theaters in 1976, it shocked everyone. People loved it, and Sylvester Stallone became famous overnight. But why did Rocky become such a big deal, and how did it change his life? Even though the movie was made on a small budget of just $1 million, it earned over $225 million worldwide. Why? Because people everywhere connected with Rocky's story, the underdog fighting for his dream. They saw themselves in him, struggling, hoping, and never giving up. Why did it touch so many hearts? Because it felt real. Stallone put his own struggles into the movie, and fans could feel it. Rocky's story was Stallone's story, and people loved that. Then came the biggest surprise.
And the winner is Rocky Irwin.
Rocky got 10 Oscar nominations and won 3 awards, including Best Picture. And get this, Stallone was even nominated for Best Actor and Best Screenplay, something very rare for a newcomer. When Stallone stepped onto the Oscar stage, his life changed forever. Just a year ago, he was broke and unknown. Now, he was Hollywood's next big star. He was getting offers, meeting powerful people, and finally living his dream. But Stallone didn't just sit back and enjoy the fame. He saw it as an opportunity. He realized that success wasn't just about being famous. It was about taking control of his own career. He started producing and directing his own movies, making sure he stayed in charge of his future. He went from being rejected by studios to becoming one of Hollywood's biggest stars. But the big question was, could he keep the success going? That answer would come with the sequels and his next big moves. After Rocky made Stallone a superstar, everyone wondered, what's next for him? Would he be a one-hit wonder, or could he keep proving himself in Hollywood? Instead of relaxing and enjoying his success, Stallone was ready for the next fight. He didn't want to be known for just one movie. He wanted to build an empire, but Hollywood wasn't easy. Despite his new fame, studios still saw him as the Rocky guy and weren't sure if he could do anything else. So, Stallone took matters into his own hands. He started writing and starring in more movies, determined to prove he was more than just a boxer on screen. One of his biggest moves, creating another legendary character, John Rambo. In 1982, Stallone starred in First Blood, the first movie in the Rambo series. The film was a huge hit, grossing over $125 million worldwide and turning him into a full-blown action star. Now, he wasn't just Rocky. He was the ultimate action hero. But here's the crazy part. Stallone wasn't even the first choice to play Rambo. The script had been passed around Hollywood for nearly a decade, with actors like Al Pacino and Clint Eastwood turning it down. But Stallone saw something in the character that others didn't. A story about a soldier struggling with life after war. He took the role, rewrote parts of the script himself, and made it a hit with Rocky and Rambo. Stallone proved he wasn't just lucky. He was smart, strategic, and always thinking ahead. He had now built two blockbuster franchises that would last for decades. But Stallone wasn't done. He wanted more. Over the years, he starred in a mix of action hits and personal projects, some successful, some not. But through it all, his work ethic and belief in himself never wavered. So, what's the big lesson from Stallone's journey? It's simple. Never give up. Even when you're rejected, even when you're broke, even when people doubt you, keep pushing forward. Stallone went from having nothing to becoming one of the most successful action stars in Hollywood history, with his movies earning over $4 billion worldwide. His story teaches us that success isn't just about talent, it's about grit, determination, and never settling for less. And if you keep fighting for your dreams, who knows? You might just create your own billion-dollar empire.